You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
A war veteran makes his final return home to the Bay Area more than 80 years after he went missing in action.
It became, I think, a kind of grief that could only be dealt with in silence.
Plus, a push to get more of the Bay Area on the big screen with a camera that provides a lens into the past.
He got this in 1968 from a mafia guy in Boston.
How San Francisco wants to help him and others bring more movies to the city. And a Bay Area lawmaker on a mission to protect young people from potentially harmful beauty products as he's trying to stop big companies from cashing in on kids. Thanks for joining us this Memorial Day. I'm Ann Magovic. Those stories and lots more right after our news headlines. And this Memorial Day, we are remembering those who died in battle, like Lieutenant Thomas Kelly of Livermore. The service is happening this morning at St. Michael Catholic Church. His remains arrived in the Bay Area Friday, more than 80 years after he was shot down over the Pacific. They were found thanks to the efforts of the nonprofit Project Recover and the U.S. military. The procession happening this morning starting at 11:30, beginning at St. Michael's Catholic Church and ending at St. Michael's Cemetery. The USS Hornet Museum in Alameda is commemorating fallen soldiers with its annual Memorial Day service. Today's event on board the aircraft carrier features a wreath laying and a squadron flyover. President Trump honored our nation's fallen by laying a traditional wreath at Arlington National Cemetery. He visited the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which represents the burial site of a soldier from World War I. Back here in the Bay Area, fire broke out at a grocery store in San Francisco this morning. It happened at Carnival and 44th in the outer Sunset at around 6 a.m. 2 people have been displaced. A large sailing ship has sunk in the Oakland estuary. The Oakland Alameda Fire Department says the 100-foot sailing ship went under at around 8 o'clock last night. They say crews protected nearby boats from being damaged, and they used a floating boom to prevent any oil spills that might have happened. That comes after a smaller boat capsized near Crissy Field on Saturday. Firefighters rescued 8 passengers, but the captain refused to leave. First responders stayed with him until they could get that ship righted again. Another recall campaign appears to be moving forward, this time targeting a San Francisco supervisor. Recall organizers say the city has verified more than 99% of the nearly 11,000 signatures on the recall petition against Joel Engardio. He led the effort to shut down a stretch of the Great Highway to traffic for a park. A citywide vote passed in November, even though most residents in the Sunset and Richmond voted against it.
He was elected to be the District 4 supervisor. So instead of coming to us, he went for the whole city. But I think it really needs to start here.
Engardio told us in a statement he is focused on improving safety and traffic. He went on to say that he expects voters will reject the recall. All right, now let's get a check on our end of the 3-day weekend holiday forecast with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, we're off to a mild start for us as we head into this week's forecast. We're talking about 70s and 60s widespread throughout the Bay Area today with some breezy conditions as we head into the afternoon and evening hours tonight. Now, it's been a beautiful weekend for us just the past few days, but it's been breezy too, and we're not done with those winds just yet. We're going to see those winds kick back up later into the evening hours tonight. We're already noticing it in some of our inland spots already. 70s in store for us today down into the Santa Clara Valley. Let's talk a little bit about those winds. Heading into this afternoon, this is what we're gearing up for. Wind gusts to around 20 to 30 miles per hour in areas like San Francisco, Bodega Bay, even stronger than that. And you notice that coastal breeze pushing its way inland into Napa and Fairfield just throughout the next couple hours. Another thing to mention too, well, the Climate Prediction Center is showing warmer than normal conditions for us as we head into the next 6 to 10 days here locally in the Bay, but actually just widespread throughout the whole state of California and throughout much of the West Coast too. As we head into the next 7 days, I want to show you how that's going to shape out for us. You take a look at some of our inland spots. Now we're talking about Antioch, Concord, Walnut Creek. We're sitting in the 70s now. We jump to the 80s tomorrow. Thursday, we're into the upper 80s. Friday, we warm all the way up into the upper 90s in some of our inland areas, especially off into the East Bay with sunny skies. I wouldn't be shocked if the National Weather Service ends up issuing heat advisories as we dive into this weekend's forecast. But then you look at this weekend and you realize, okay, we're going to cool right back down to the 80s at least as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Bay. Now that warm up is going to happen for all of us throughout the Bay. But as we head into areas like San Francisco and Oakland, it's a little bit more mild. For example, we're sitting in the 60s today. We're going to hold on tight to 60s throughout that midweek forecast. Warm up into the 70s by Thursday, and then by Friday, we're topping off this week in the mid-80s with partly cloudy skies. So we'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. Memorial Day is about honoring those brave men and women who gave their lives in service to our country. Today, the USS Hornet Museum is commemorating fallen soldiers with a special service, welcoming families and veterans to explore and participate in multiple events for this day of remembrance. Veronica Macias was there this morning to tell us what people can expect.
This Memorial Day, so many people forget about the significance of this holiday, but here at the USS Hornet Sea, Air, and Space Museum, we're reminded of all those people who served and died for their country. The USS Hornet was never struck in combat during World War II, but many air crew members have lost their lives in battle. There are many stories of several service members who have also lost their lives just carrying out duties at sea. It is those souls who died in service who are being honored and remembered today. Docents who helped tell the stories of the aircraft on this military ship want to remind us not to take our freedoms for granted.
A lot of times we see these types of aircraft in television and movies, but when you're close up to it, it suddenly becomes real. The people who served, the people who may have perished while serving their country, it all becomes very real because you get to see that actual aircraft that maybe you saw on TV and you, well, I didn't realize it was that big, or I didn't realize it was that complicated. And so you really get a connection, in my opinion. And I enjoy watching families and children just like that light turns on and suddenly they get it.
Today's memorial commemoration starts at 1 p.m. Some 500 people expected to attend. There will be several speakers. A wreath will be laid out in the bay. A memorial squadron will wrap things up, and there also will be music from the World War II era.
Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, Oakland's new police chief wants to give officers more power to chase criminals. But would it protect public safety or put innocent people in danger?
We have to let them know that you cannot come to Oakland and do this.
Plus, a homecoming for a hero after 80 years. The extraordinary effort by one family to bring Lieutenant Kelly back home.
But an aunt of mine, on her own initiative, decided to reach out to Project Recover and say, hey, our family's been doing some research. We think we know where this plane is.
And new incentives to shoot movies in San Francisco. We're hearing from a local filmmaker with a camera passed through the generations. What he says makes the city so special.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Daytime highs today are very mild all throughout the Bay Area, with 70s in store for us in our inland spots, 60s along the coast. But we have a very big warm up as we head into this week's forecast. Look at Friday, 90s right around the corner, close to the triple digits in our inland spots. And you head over into the Bay, we're also going to see that warm up influence widespread, anywhere from San Francisco off into our inland spots, with partly cloudy skies throughout the midweek forecast, warmer weather diving into the weekend, and then we average out a little bit more as we head into next work week. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
A new proposal from the Oakland police chief wants to give cops more power to chase violent criminals. Some say Oakland's current chase policy is so restrictive that it emboldens offenders. Ardal Lynn reports on the proposal and why some say it still doesn't go far enough.
A lot of times, Oakland police just watch criminals speed off, and there's not much they can do. It's not because they're lazy or scared, it's because of the current policy. A new proposal aims to change that. Some people argue Oakland's high crime rates are due to policies that handcuff the police and embolden criminals. Chef Oswaldo Sanchez says it's time to get rid of those restrictive policies.
Cops can actually chase them because otherwise they continue to do the robberies.
Sanchez manages Agave Uptown, but thieves almost chased him out of town. He recorded 22 burglaries and robberies at the restaurant between 2016 and 2024.
Are we willing to stay on the area, or should we move to a different area? Are we staying open or closed?
Police Chief Floyd Mitchell on Thursday night asked the Oakland Police Commission to approve changes to the pursuit policy. Right now, officers have to end a chase if speeds reach 50 miles per hour, unless a commander approves it. The chief released this graphic showing in 2024 there were more than 1,200 so-called non-response pursuits. That means officers just watched suspects drive off. No chase. Governor Gavin Newsom publicly shamed the police commission in December, saying it doesn't make sense.
You could be drunk, you can run a red light, you can come close to side-swiping a school bus during the morning hours right in front of a police officer, and the pursuit policy in Oakland says we cannot pursue that suspect.
East Oakland Councilman Ken Houston says that's why the city feels lawless.
We have to bring back law and order, have to bring it back. We have to bring harsher penalties, and we have to let them know that you cannot come to Oakland and do this.
But critics say the proposal is too dangerous. Innocent pedestrians and drivers can be hurt or even killed in high-speed crashes. Police say 2 people died in 2022 in crashes linked to police pursuits. It's partly why the proposed changes would only allow officers to chase violent criminals or suspects with guns, but not car thieves or burglary suspects.
You have to balance it. Which one is causing more harm? Which one is causing more harm? Is it the one that allowing them to get away with those crimes would embolden them to higher crimes? You have to draw a line. Nothing's going to be perfect, right?
Sanchez believes it's more dangerous to let criminals do whatever they want. In fact, he wants the proposal to go further by letting cops chase after burglars.
They should have a little bit more power so that crimes and robberies should stop little by little.
The Oakland Police Commission is required to take action within 4 months. The civilian committee can either approve, reject, or modify the proposal.
Events honoring Memorial Day are taking place all across the Bay Area today. Thousands of scouts were out at the Golden Gate National Cemetery in San Bruno this weekend, laying out almost 50,000 American flags in front of graves, honoring people who made the ultimate sacrifice. They say they are honored to do this every year.
A fundamental aspect of scouting is civic education and civic awareness, and teaching these young people about what past generations have done in service to the country is a really important part of what we do in our program.
The Golden Gate National Cemetery is the final resting place of 15 Medal of Honor recipients. A homecoming for a Bay Area veteran happened today. 81 years ago, Lieutenant Thomas Kelly's plane was shot down during World War II, and with the wreckage, Kelly's remains thought to be lost forever. This is a look at the ceremony remembering him this morning. This is at St. Michael's Catholic Church in Livermore. Following the service, his body will be moved to St. Michael's Cemetery. Our John Ramos shares with us the extraordinary effort by one family able to bring Lieutenant Kelly back home.
On Memorial Day, we remember those who died for their country, but there are more than 800,000 people listed as missing in action from America's wars. For each one of them, there is a family wondering what happened. This is the story of one family that never gave up asking that question. "81 years after his death, Second Lieutenant Thomas Vincent Kelly is coming home. Thomas Kelly, Tommy to his friends, grew up in Livermore and enlisted in the Army Air Corps in August 1942. He became a bombardier aboard a B-24 bomber nicknamed Heaven Can Wait that flew more than 30 missions. On March 11, 1944, his crew was assigned to attack anti-aircraft positions in Hansa Bay, a remote area of Papua New Guinea. As they approached the target, the aircraft was hit by anti-aircraft fire and went down. The family received only a 4-sentence letter reporting the loss with no other information.
It became, I think, a kind of grief that could only be dealt with in silence. And so the memory of Tommy was a forbidden topic within the family.
But many years later, Kelly's second cousin, Professor Scott Altus, said they discovered something else written about that day.
50 years after these events, a letter from a person in the plane opposite my relatives recalled that the co-pilot faced the other two planes and saluted as their plane went and banked down into the water. They knew that they were going down. So the big focus for our family was to try to learn, well, what happened? And it took us 4 years of research, and eventually we came to have a clear understanding of what happened on March 11th, 1944.
Over the years, Altus began devoting his Memorial Days to researching the crash, and eventually it began to pinpoint the area where the plane probably went down. And that's when the family took action.
But an aunt of mine, on her own initiative, decided to reach out to Project Recover and say, hey, our family's been doing some research. We think we know where this plane is in Papua New Guinea. Would you be interested in hearing about what we found? And surprisingly, they said yes.
Project Recover is an organization dedicated to locating and recovering service members missing in action. They put together a team of divers to survey the area identified by the family, and after 17 days of searching, they found the wreckage of Heaven Can Wait. It was sitting in 200 feet of water, and a Navy dive operation was able to recover the remains of the crew members. And so, on this day, with all his family's questions now answered, Tommy is no longer missing.
Lieutenant Kelly, today we honor your service, your sacrifice, and commitment. We mourn the loss as a family, a community, and as a grateful nation.
At the ceremony, Professor Altus thanked all the people who, despite being strangers, helped in the recovery of their fallen loved one.
For his family gathered today, it's almost indescribable what this is going to mean for us. This whole part of our family's journey started on Memorial Day of 2013, and it is going to conclude on Memorial Day of 2025, exactly 12 years to the day.
Memorial Day is about remembering the individual sacrifices of those who die in wartime, but that's something that's never quite known for those who simply go missing.
Another cherished part of Lieutenant Kelly's legacy is also back with his family. A treasured 48-star American flag sent to his parents back then and believed to have been lost has now come home for Memorial Day. Lieutenant Kelly's father raised that flag every day to honor his son after he was declared missing in action. Though the family home changed hands twice and the flag seemed gone, current owner recently returned it to the Kelly family, bringing a meaningful piece of history back just in time for the holiday.
The real flag, it's a tattered flag, 48 stars. and we get to have it. It has a lot of meaning for our family.
Today's funeral service for Lieutenant Kelly is private, but the family is welcoming anyone to join the procession. Still ahead, the city of San Francisco wants to help aspiring filmmakers. They plan to bring lights, camera, and action back to the city.
San Francisco, the film scene itself, it's very small and very familial.
What's happening for us as we head outside today. Those wind speeds just around lunchtime, actually, already up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour along our coastline. We're going to notice that onshore breeze into those inland areas too. And heading into the evening hours tonight, luckily, at least we're going to see those clear skies. So if you have outdoor plans, it's going to be a beautiful one for us. And it's been a pretty mild forecast so far when it comes to our temperatures, but the Climate Prediction Center is showing warmer than normal conditions as we head into the next 6 to 10 days. As we head into the next couple of days, we're going to notice drier conditions, warmer conditions, sunnier skies. And just to tease ahead real fast, because I want to show you what's going on, you head over into our inland spots. Well, today we're in the 70s. Tomorrow we're in the 80s. We continue that warm up until we're suddenly hitting the 90s as we head into this Friday forecast, close to the triple digits. It's going to be one of the warmest days we've seen so far this year, especially in our inland spots. I'll talk more about why that's happening coming up in just a bit.
Well, you might have seen production crews around town in San Francisco, all rumored to be part of a movie in the works starring Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen. City leaders are now hoping for more lights, camera, and action around San Francisco. Our Suji Nam shows us what they're doing to try to get more film producers to use the city as their backdrop.
From the classics to superheroes, San Francisco has been home to some of Hollywood's biggest hits. That's what drew Paul Kimyech to the city nearly 10 years ago with a camera gifted to him by his father.
He gave this to me when I was 13. He was a filmmaker, And he got this in 1968 from a mafia guy in Boston.
And he's now using the same 16mm camera to create films in San Francisco.
San Francisco, the film scene itself, it's very small and very familial.
While nearly 400 miles away from Hollywood, Kim Yech found his own set, the magical backdrop of San Francisco.
This is a fun little campy tarot card music video shot between here and Davenport and Santa Cruz. A messed up film about a messed up relationship. Can't wait to premiere it here in the city.
San Francisco is not camera shy. Scott, where are you? From Marvel superheroes and The Matrix,
I always come back to the old house,
to award-winning films like Joe Talbot's The Last Black Man in San Francisco. But it hasn't all been lights, camera, action.
There's productions that often will be set here, but they're shooting in Vancouver, they're shooting in Australia, they're shooting really in Atlanta.
Manija Fatah, the head of the SF Film Commission, says there's been a decline in production statewide since the pandemic. That combined with an expensive price tag to film in the city. But productions have slowly been returning. The city has been offering the Scene in San Francisco rebate program, where crews film in the city and get up to $600,000 back for their expenses. Fatah adds she's optimistic with the 2 state bills on the floor right now that push for higher film tax refund statewide.
The tax credit right now is about 20 to 25%, and that doesn't compete nationally or internationally to drive more business here. So they're increasing it to up to 35%. And then there's an uplift if you shoot outside of the Los Angeles studio zone.
And filmmakers like Kim Yech agree, adding that San Francisco should become a hub for independent filmmakers. That in a time where AI and technology are emerging, he hopes the industry can focus on its roots.
Recognizing and rewarding filmmaking as that first and foremost crucial cultural asset.
So that San Francisco can continue to boldly represent itself in the film world. State lawmakers are also considering expanding the state's film and tax credit program. For the first time in 5 years, San Francisco has made the grade on a beach roll honor list. Peel the Bay recognized China Beach as one of the cleanest beaches in the state based on water quality. San Mateo County has 2 beaches on the honor roll. The beaches in Orange County top this year's list. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, we are going to meet a group of 5th graders investigating a potentially dangerous trend in beauty products and the Bay Area lawmaker trying to address it.
I think Assemblyman Lee would need to define what an anti-aging product is, because the company can just be like, okay, that's not an anti-aging product.
Plus, they are not going quietly. Now, a San Francisco chorus group is fighting funding cuts to the arts.
It's clear that they are trying to silence LGBTQ voices, or trying to silence our stories.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Memorial Day. I'm Ann Magovic. Here's another look at our news headlines. Today, we are remembering those who died in battle, like Lieutenant Thomas Kelly of Livermore. There is a service happening this morning at St. Michael Catholic Church. His remains arrived in the Bay Area Friday, more than 80 years after his plane was shot down over the Pacific. Those remains found thanks to the efforts of his family, the nonprofit group Project Recover, and the U.S. military. 2 people have been displaced after a fire at a grocery store this morning in San Francisco. That fire broke out in the outer Sunset at Carnival and 44th Avenue at around 6 o'clock. No word yet on how it started. And a large sailing ship has sunk in the Oakland estuary. The Alameda Fire Department says the 100-foot sailing ship went under at around 8 o'clock last night. They say crews protected nearby boats from being damaged and used a floating boom to prevent any oil spills. Now let's get another check on our first alert forecast with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, we're off to a mild start for us as we head into this week's forecast. We're talking about 70s and 60s widespread throughout the Bay Area today, with some breezy conditions as we head into the afternoon and evening hours tonight. Now, it's been a beautiful weekend for us just the past few days, but it's been breezy too, and we're not done with those winds just yet. We're going to see those winds kick back up later into the evening hours tonight. We're already noticing it in some of our inland spots already. 70s in store for us today down into the Santa Clara Valley. Let's talk a little bit about those winds. Heading into this afternoon, this is what we're gearing up for. Wind gusts to around 20 to 30 miles per hour in areas like San Francisco, Bodega Bay, even stronger than that. And you notice that coastal breeze pushing its way inland into Napa and Fairfield just throughout the next couple hours. Another thing to mention too, well, the Climate Prediction Center is showing warmer than normal conditions for us as we head into the next 6 to 10 days here locally in the Bay, but actually just widespread throughout the whole state of California and throughout much of the West Coast too. As we head into the next 7 days, I want to show you how that's going to shape out for us. You take a look at some of our inland spots. Now we're talking about Antioch, Concord, Walnut Creek. We're sitting in the 70s now. We jump to the 80s tomorrow. Thursday, we're into the upper 80s. Friday, we warm all the way up into the upper 90s in some of our inland areas, especially off into the East Bay with sunny skies. I wouldn't be shocked if the National Weather Service ends up issuing heat advisories as we dive into this weekend's forecast. But then you look at this weekend and you realize, okay, we're going to cool right back down to the 80s at least as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Now that warm up is going to happen for all of us throughout the Bay. But as we head into areas like San Francisco and Oakland, it's a little bit more mild. For example, we're sitting in the 60s today. We're going to hold on tight to 60s throughout that midweek forecast. Warm up into the 70s by Thursday, and then by Friday, we're topping off this week in the mid 80s with partly cloudy skies. So we'll keep you updated on that forecast here in the Weather Center. Back to you.
Skincare brands are making millions, billions of dollars every year selling products to tweens, kids under the age of 12. But dermatologists say some of those products are not good for young skin. Now, a Bay Area lawmaker wants to require an ID to buy some anti-aging products. CBS News California investigative correspondent Julie Watts teamed up with CBS News Confirmed and a group of 5th graders. Together, they take a look at the risks and what is being done to try to protect kids.
You're going to see how a bill begins.
This isn't a typical class field trip to the state capitol.
How long have you been working for a lobbyist?
These 5th graders are on assignment.
Why did the bill go to appropriations?
Investigating the so-called Sephora Kids bill, which would trigger an 18 and over age verification when kids try to buy anti-aging products with certain ingredients that could harm young skin.
Companies put retinol in bright colored packages with animals' faces and sparkles.
And who better to investigate the proposed solution?
That's not for grown-ups, it's for kids like me, and they know it.
And then the kids it aims to protect.
Why does it matter so much to you?
So we invited my daughter's 5th grade class to the Capitol.
Lots and lots of big companies and corporations that profit, that make a lot of money off of things that we don't feel good about.
They interviewed Assemblyman Alex Lee, California's youngest legislator.
And I think it's really bad that companies make money off of children.
He wrote the so-called Sephora Kids bill.
A lot of doctors prescribe or just recommend retinoids and retinols for kids and teens.
They studied up and asked some tough questions.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. So in a prescription setting, it makes a lot more sense, right? But the products that we're talking about, you buy at Sephora or Ulta, you don't have to ever see a doctor.
Then the class heard from both supporters and opponents in the Assembly Committee hearing.
One of the worst things I used was a face mask that looked like a kitty cat. I thought it was cute and would make my skin glow.
Although well-intended, this bill is misguided.
I don't know that I've seen living in the world of teen girls this to be a huge
problem. I didn't know it had retinol in it. I didn't even know what retinol was.
Over-the-counter skincare products, including those containing retinols and alpha hydroxy acids, provide critical and affordable access to treatment.
For about 2 weeks, it was really painful, and I had a hard time sleeping.
We are opposed to AB 728 because it's virtually impossible for us to comply with.
I also think that there needs to be serious work on ensuring that if this does move forward, it is incredibly clear to what is anti-aging and what is not, because the ingredients are often overlapping.
That's a good point. I think Assemblyman Lee would need to define what an anti-aging product is, because the company can just be like, okay, that's not an anti-aging product.
And back in the classroom, they had a few more concerns.
It's in our function to be appealed by bright things, especially for kids.
But also, it doesn't say anti-aging on the packaging.
And then with the warning labels, the brands could just make it as small as they want, and then you might not be able to see it. So I think verbally would be much better, because then they can hear, oh, okay, I can't buy this.
And when it comes to marketing through product packaging, even parents can get confused.
I researched this product, and I assumed this one right next to it had the same ingredients, and it didn't. And so I think that's at the core of the issue, and the reason that I wanted to do this story, and the reason I wanted to tell this story through your eyes. If I, as an investigative reporter, can't figure out which of these products are safe, then what about parents who don't investigate for a living? What about your parents? And that's the concern.
Well, the Sephora Kids bill passed that committee, but for a second year in a row, Appropriations Chair Buffy Wicks from the East Bay killed the bill by holding it in the so-called suspense file. That means the rest of the legislature are not going to get a chance to vote on it. You can bet Julie and those kids will be investigating the behind-the-scenes politicking that led up to that decision. In the meantime, you can watch the full investigation on our website, kpix.com. City leaders in San Jose pushing for a new emoji, the flag of South Vietnam. The city council voted unanimously to urge the Mountain View-based Unicode Consortium, that is a group that standardizes emojis for phones and computers, to add the flag. It holds deep historical and political meaning for Vietnamese refugees. Right now, only the flag of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam is available as an emoji, which many refugees reject.
And we'll have a meeting with Unicode as well and tell them what is the story, how proud we are, what is the sacrifice, how do we bring this forward so when people punch up Vietnam, they have a choice.
The Unicode Consortium, which includes tech giants like Apple and Google, did not respond to our requests for comment. Funding for the arts is under attack, both here in California and across the country. Earlier this month, Governor Newsom announced a $12 billion shortfall in the state budget, and he proposed cutting $11.5 billion in small nonprofit arts funding to try to make up that deficit. In Washington, President Trump is rapidly canceling grants for the NEA, or National Endowment for the Arts, while calling for the elimination of the agency. That puts organizations like the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus at risk. But as Max Darrow shows us, they're not going quietly.
Good luck, baby, good luck.
Finding his place among this ensemble of voices nearly 10 years ago,
You make a new excuse.
was instrumental in Tom Paulino's journey to find his voice as a gay man.
It's nuanced my understanding of what it meant to be a queer person and how we all come to be who we are and find ourselves here in San Francisco.
He is a member of the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. The group has been around since 1978, singing, teaching, and reaching out into Bay Area communities on a mission to promote acceptance, awareness, and inclusivity. But in 2025, his group and its mission has run into a roadblock.
Any time that the pendulum swings towards progress, we always know that there is often a backlash to that, and we're currently living in an enduring period of backlash.
The San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus is one of many organizations that just found out the National Endowment for the Arts, the NEA, decided to terminate a previously awarded federal grant. The rationale, according to the email that Chorus CEO Chris Verdugo received,
the NEA is updating its grant-making policy priorities to focus funding on projects that reflect the nation's rich artistic heritage and creativity as prioritized by the president. That isn't surprising, knowing what we know, but it is devastating, to be honest. is clear that they are trying to silence LGBTQ voices or trying to silence our stories.
Verdugo says they were expecting around $75,000 to help fund the Rhythm education program.
Rhythm, Reaching Youth Through Music, is a program about empowering not just queer youth, but their allies to be their authentic selves, to be the best selves that they can for themselves and their school systems.
Though the times may be changing, Paulino's resolve is holding strong.
The thing that I've always found a lot of solace and a lot of hope in is when you look around at all of your allies, whether they are queer people or straight people or people of color or women, anybody from a marginalized community that has had any sort of injustice thrust upon them by society or by somebody in power. I always know that those people are the ones that band together eventually to pull our communities and our culture forward.
His eyes are set on 2 upcoming concerts in Sonoma County and in San Francisco.
To show the world, show our community what love and joy looks like on stage.
Continuing to reach communities, one note at a time.
The San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus is seeking donations to help bridge the gap for its Rhythm program. You can learn more on our website, kpix.com. Coming up next, this Bay Area golf star hasn't even graduated high school yet, but she's already earned a spot in one of the world's most prestigious tournaments. Her amazing journey, just 6 years after first picking up a club.
Knowing that I am playing my best, I am capable of doing such great things, I think 12-year-old me would definitely feel very encouraged, very proud.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
Daytime highs today are very mild all throughout the Bay Area, with 70s in store for us in our inland spots, 60s along the coast. But we have a very big warm up as we head into this week's forecast. Look at Friday, 90s right around the corner, close to the triple digits in our inland spots. And you head over into the Bay, we're also going to see that warm up influence widespread, anywhere from San Francisco off into our inland spots, with partly cloudy skies throughout the midweek forecast, warmer weather diving into the weekend, and then we average out a little bit more as we head into next work week. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
The world's greatest golfers are coming together for the majors, and a South Bay high schooler can now include herself in that group. Matt Lively introduces us to Sarah Lim.
18-year-old Sarah Lim has only played golf for 6 years.
Like that feeling of accomplishment when you know you played well or you hit a good shot or you executed how you wanted to. Like I think that's always been something like so gratifying to me.
Despite only picking up the club for the first time when she was 12, she has her eyes set on one of golf's most prestigious events.
It hasn't even hit really until I maybe get there. So I think just walking into the US Open, I'm just gonna be wide-eyed.
The Saratoga High School senior qualified for the Women's US Open, finishing in a tie for first place at a qualifier at the Olympic Club.
Knowing that I am playing my best, I am capable of doing such great things. I think 12-year-old me would definitely feel very encouraged, very proud.
It's a tiny bit against the grain, right?
When Sarah travels to the major, her dad, James, will be on the bag as her caddy.
It's a major, it's a professional event, and so super proud of it.
It's really special. You know, he's been like on my golf journey since the beginning. He's with me on the range. He's the person I text if I'm like really need some desperate help.
While she might be one of the newest and youngest golfers at Erin Hills, she's ready to give it her all.
I want to make the cut, want to hopefully make low-am, but it's my first US Open, but I feel like that means I will be back and hopefully.
The U.S. Women's Open kicks off on Thursday. And tune in tomorrow afternoon when the Golden State Valkyries take on the New York Liberty. That game airs on KPIX, and there's a game tomorrow, another on Thursday. Our coverage starts at 3:30 with our pre-game show. Matt Lively is traveling with the team. He's going to have reports all week. This Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, San Francisco is celebrating a groundbreaking new poet laureate, the city's first Chinese American to hold that title. Jenny Lim, a San Franciscan whose parents were detained at Angel Island during the Chinese Exclusion Act, shares stories of struggle through her poetry. She helped preserve immigrant poems from Angel Island, and as the city's 9th poet laureate, plans poetry festivals and a youth program to inspire the next generation.
Coming from that history of exclusion to being included, not only included, but celebrated as a Chinese American poet was really remarkable.
You can watch Sharon Chin's full story on Jenny Lim airing tonight at 5 on our evening edition. Coming up, Carnival bringing a celebration of different cultures to the streets of San Francisco. We're heading to the Mission with the highlights of the Grand Parade.
Here's what's happening for us as we head outside today. Those wind speeds, just around lunchtime actually, already up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour along our coastline. We're going to notice that onshore breeze into those inland areas too. And heading into the evening hours tonight, luckily, at least we're going to see those clear skies. So if you have outdoor plans, it's going to be a beautiful one for us. And it's been a pretty mild forecast so far when it comes to our temperatures, but the Climate Prediction Center is showing warmer than normal conditions as we head into the next 6 to 10 days. As we head into the next couple days, we're going to notice drier conditions, warmer conditions, sunnier skies. And just to tease ahead real fast, because I want to show you what's going on, you head over into our inland spots. Well, today we're in the 70s. Tomorrow we're in the 80s. We continue that warm up until we're suddenly hitting the 90s as we head into this Friday forecast, close to the triple digits. It's going to be one of the warmest days we've seen so far this year, especially in our inland spots. I'll talk more about why that's happening coming up in just a bit.
Superstar Jennifer Lopez returning to host and perform at the American Music Awards tonight. Other big names set to take the stage include Icon Award honoree Janet Jackson, marking her first televised performance in almost a decade. The 51st Annual American Music Awards airing live from Las Vegas tonight at 5 o'clock on KPIX and streaming on Paramount+. Carnival brought thousands of people to San Francisco's Mission District this weekend. The two-day festival and grand parade is the largest multicultural festival on the West Coast. I was out there, and so was Kevin Coe. He hopped into a lowrider and brings us some of the highlights.
Carnival took over the Mission this weekend as streets shut down for San Francisco's 47th annual celebration of Latin, Caribbean, and African traditions. If your feet aren't moving for one reason or another, you're probably grabbing a bite or sitting where Pete Duenas is.
Just being different, and we could just do what we do like this. You know what I mean? Not everybody could do it.
Pete is the founder of the Chalou Car Club, representing his roots from Guam in Vallejo. Sitting in the back of the lowrider is his first cousin Eric, who's been lowriding since he was a kid.
Cruising is one of my stress reliefs. Either cruising by myself, cruising with my family members, my car club members, you know, it feels good. It feels good.
Cruising is obviously quite the attraction as it is today, but it wasn't always this way. In the 80s and the 90s, in most cities across California, doing this was against the law.
It was a thing to do, you know, after school on the weekends, shine up the ride, go to Dan Foley Park, Blue Rock Springs in Vallejo. You know, you go to other cities, you know, you can't do that.
The lowriders and the Carnival Parade was a popular sight for kids whose parents brought them along for a Sunday field trip.
Just watching and see like different cultures.
The culture, the people, the city. You just want to show my son that it's a lot of other cultures out here, and we're just here to experience it and enjoy it. And, you know, we can take some of it home for ourselves and go home and talk about it.
Why are you here?
Because my dad told me to be here.
Learning about different parts of the world and their cultures is important to us. I'm Guatemalan, my wife's Cambodian. We've both been to our home countries with our kids for them to experience life outside of the U.S., which is, I think, important to see how other people live and how things are different.
It may not be another country, but there's not many better places for Camilo and his family than the largest multicultural festival on the West Coast.
And you can head over to kpix.com or our YouTube page to see our extensive coverage of Carnival, including profiles on the people who helped make the event what it is. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.